everyone, and welcome back to the Viking podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Bundy, alongside Hayden Goldberg and Callum.
And today we have a special guest. We have Coach Gifford here. He's the athletic director at Palo Alto High School. And we're going to be asking you some questions about the new three-sport season. So just to start us off, can you go over exactly what that is? So what is the three-sport season?
Oh, my gosh. Man, it's it's a little complicated, but in a nutshell, we took all the sports and rearranged them according to their tier designation. So for those not familiar with it, the county the state has divided up counties according to their COVID exposure into 4 tiers. The purple's the most restrictive, then it goes red, then it goes orange, then it goes yellow. So we took the what the state gave us according to the tiers and then rearranged the seasons based on those tiers, prioritizing the purple tier sports first earlier in the year, and then trying to move all the other sports like the red, the orange, and the yellow tier towards the end of the school year. Right. And the goal behind that is to maximize the opportunity for each season to have a chance to be played.
Cool. Generally, do you see any sports competing in CCS at all, or is it just a complete no-go? And why is that?
All the conversations that I've had have been no CCS.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
And no CCS really has more to do with the travel restrictions. So if you pay attention to all the COVID stuff, one of the big issues that you have is we are not allowed to compete with counties that are not adjacent to ours, that touch Santa Clara County. For instance, football is scheduled to play St. Ignatius this year. Cannot play St. Ignatius because they're in San Francisco County between us and San Mateo County. So we can't cross one county to get to another. So how do you do a CCS tournament, right, if we got to have people from Santa Cruz or Monterey or, non-contiguous counties, right? So that's the huge impediment to having sectional playoffs. So if you look at the North Coast section, and that's a section in the East Bay that goes from Fremont all the way up, all the way up north to Concord and all that stuff. They did away with all their sections, and there's a number of other sections as well that have done that. All indications are that the CCS is probably going to do that. They just haven't done that yet. So that's the answer.
Awesome. Callum, do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah. Do you know why they're cutting into the spring season sports if those sports were shortened last year?
So that was, a really tough decision. I wasn't part of the ad hoc committee that put the schedule together.
Yeah.
But what they were trying to do more than anything was focus on equity, right? And ensuring that each of these sports got to get played and taking into consideration athlete availability, facility availability, coach availability, and then organizing it according to the tiers, right? So when you put all these factors together, it becomes like a giant jigsaw.
You want to play a little game?
Moving jigsaw puzzle, right? It's almost impossible to think about it without writing it down. Like when I worked on the schedule myself, I have to see all the sports laid out. So baseball's an interesting one, right? Because baseball's, they got their own field. We have our own field. But then when you talk to the Los Altos principal, and I didn't realize this, their outfield is being shared by girls volleyball. So how do you balance that out, right? Does baseball get it? Does volleyball get it? And obviously baseball guys baseball should get it, obviously. But then, girls volleyball is well, we need to practice too, but we can't be inside. So how do you create access, right? How do you create opportunities? And as far as a shortened season, I wasn't happy about that. If I'm honest, and I've told people that, but the big goal, and this was probably the critical piece, was to make sure every athlete just had at least a shot at something. a shot at competing, if only for like 6 weeks, right? If we stick with the CCS calendar, we didn't move anything, right? And the CCS hasn't moved, and they haven't announced any cancellations. But I spoke to my girls volleyball coach 2 days ago, and he's like, if we go back, our season's over. They got 3 weeks left. Water polo, boys and girls, it's done. It's over. The season's over. They can't play. It's the same thing with field hockey. So what do we do with those sports? How do we try to get them a chance to have that opportunity to play? Is there a way that we can get them out there? And now, where we are right now, and I think you may have been at the whole board of managers meeting that was super long, and I don't ever suggest anybody sitting and listening to a whole bunch of principals talk about administrative business. It's not super fun, but it sounds like there's opportunities for adjustments.
Yeah, and so next we held a poll on our Viking Instagram, and we got some questions from the community.
Yeah.
So one of the questions was, what happens if there's a COVID case in one of these sports? What's the protocol, and how are we going to go about trying to keep people safe?
So the big thing is the district has their protocol. So and this is the same as when we were working out over the summer and when we're working out over the fall. So a COVID case gets reported, that information is going to be passed to our athletic trainer, Justin Yongi. She reports that to the district office. They together coordinate to do the contact tracing. Hey, who was the student around? Who were they with? Were they traveling before, after practice with students? That sort of thing. They get that information, then the district determines, based on that information, who gets what letter, right? So someone's going to get a letter saying, hey, someone has COVID, but you're not a close contact, or someone has COVID, you are a close contact, or don't come back here, you've got COVID, you can't come back until this time. And so there's 3 letters that go out. That gets sent out by school administration. It's actually Jerry Bergson is the one who has to handle all that for both sports and for school. And then the return piece is then done through a doctor. So if someone does have COVID, they need to get cleared by a doctor before they can return to practice. So a lot of that COVID protocol sits outside of the athletic department.
Okay.
Do you imagine, are there some sports that like right now you just don't see going back at all?
I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Okay?
Mom, the cat's out of the bag.
Okay, don't tell anybody. But the basketball coaches are working on a plan that might allow them to play if we get to the right color tier. So they're thinking about moving basketball outside, right? Because if you look at the tiers, outdoor basketball's orange, indoors yellow, outdoors orange. So, if you can move basketball outside, it's like try to play in the gym, absolutely. But if you're given a choice between playing outside or not playing at all, I think some people might play outside. So,
and I was just gonna say, it seems like in general the country as a whole, as well as Santa Clara, is sort of on the downward trend right now. The trajectory is going down. I'm not sure exactly. Are we still in the purple tier? Or have we moved down to red?
We're still in the purple tier. I literally just checked like an hour ago. They haven't updated the stats for Santa Clara since February 10th.
Okay.
And there's been a downward trajectory. So I know Newsom made some announcement earlier today saying he expects a number of counties to move out of the purple tier and into the red. I think Santa Clara is part of that. So I could easily see us being in the red tier. So for sports like baseball and softball and field hockey, that's great.
Cool.
Awesome.
And then I think we have time for one more question here.
Yeah.
If there will be able to be family or friends that can attend the games at all, or if it's going to be strictly no attendance at the games if we're able to play.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. So some of it's going to be just based around facilities, right? So like if you go to our El Camino field, we can't have fans in the stands because we only have one set of stands. We'd be sitting right next to each other. We could have one person. So it's not going to work. But maybe we have people standing outside watching from outside the fence, physically spaced there. If you go into our pool, we can't have fans in our pool deck. Again, too close together. You go to the baseball facility, right? It's tough. So we can have fans and we can't. Right. That's going to be the challenging part. So what we're working on right now is trying to see if we can get with the In Focus group and seeing if we can do some broadcasting to be able to stream some of our games, if not live, then on the NFH network afterwards, because we understand that it's going to be really, really difficult to accommodate all the people that want to see us play in all the various sports. So we have to take advantage of whatever technical tools that we have at our disposal to be able to, put this out to the community.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, also, if you think about it, that streaming all the sports could also help a lot of kids with recruitment.
Oh, no. Well, it's recruitment,
Yeah.
and for me, from an athletic director standpoint, I look at it as like archival footage.
Yeah.
I think about a guy like Jock Peterson, right? I mean,
Yeah.
man, what an athlete. And it's like, I want film of Jock playing baseball.
Yeah.
I don't have any film of Jock playing baseball, right? I want all that stuff. Like, there's film of Jock playing high school football than there's more film of that in football than there is of him playing baseball. So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Right? So I want all the sports to have records of that. So we're piloting that right now. Having some of our students record sports for golf, tennis, swimming and diving, and for cross country, to seeing if that allows us to get more film from our students, and then pairing that with the In Focus to do some more broadcasts where we can. I think we're going to create some opportunities to get something out of this year that brings us close together, even if we can't physically be close.
That's awesome. Like a Pally top 10 or something.
You got it. I would love that.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Coach Gifford. I wish you the best. I know it's a tough job you got going right now, but
you guys make it easy.
Yeah, I'm hoping you and my buddy Bundy over here can have a football season this year, and we can see you guys play at some point.
Well,
hey, who knows? Maybe you'll be out there, Callum. Little quarterback.
Yeah.
Hey, I was the backup QB freshman year.
Cool. Backup QB is the best position in sports.
That's what I heard.
I can be your emergency guy.
That's what I heard. That's awesome, guys. I gotta run to this district meeting, guys. Have a good one. Thank you so much for having me on.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. All right. That's gonna wrap it up for the third edition of the Viking podcast.
That was the third edition. A special episode, our first special guest. If you guys liked it, make sure you guys leave a like and be here for next week's episode. And peace out, guys. Thank you.
Peace.